All right, kiddos. This is construction number 4. And it says, given a segment, construct the perpendicular bisector of the segment. So this is a fairly simple one. You draw, or maybe you're given a segment, or you may have to draw a segment. And then you set your compass to more than halfway across, and from this side you make an arc above and an arc below. Then you, with that same setting, you come to this side, you make an arc above and an arc below. So fairly basic. Let me move the paper up, and we will look at these constructions. Okay, let me tape that real quick. Okay, that ought to work. The first construction they're asking us for, well, the camera's doing funny things. Hang on. What the heck? All right, kiddos, here's our first one of these constructions. The first thing it says is to construct an angle with the indicated measure, and we want a 90-degree angle. Well, for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to make a segment, and then we're going to construct the perpendicular bisector of that segment. So a segment has endpoints. So this is so easy. What you do is you take your compass and you set it for more than halfway across. Because let me show you what happens, children, if you set it for less than halfway across. What happens is you're going to make an arc up here, and you make an arc down here. Shoot. You know what, kids? Do you see this? You see how my pencil lead is too far? That makes it a little bit harder. Let me move that back, and you might want to look at yours too. They should be about the same. Either way, sometimes it's just clumsy. Okay, but if you make an arc that is less than halfway across, when you come over and you do it from this side too, do you see that they're not going to intersect? So that's a little bit of a problem. So that's why your compass has to be set for more than halfway across that. I got to put another little piece of tape down here so my paper doesn't slip. All right, so I want to make an arc more than halfway across, so I'm just going to go ahead and push it about like that. Obviously, that's more than halfway across. Then, from this end point, I make an arc above and an arc below. Okay? Then, with that same setting, I come to this side and I make an arc above and below. Ta-da! And what I know is that after I have done that these arcs will intersect at a point that will, when I draw between these 2 points, it will be the perpendicular bisector. Now let's see, let me get this just lined up just right. Okay. So there we go. What I know is that this line is the perpendicular bisector of this segment, which means that this is a 90, obviously then this is a 90. What we also know is that this segment is congruent to this segment, which then means that that point is the midpoint of this segment. Okay? So we have now constructed an angle, a 90-degree angle. There it is, right there. That's our 90-degree angle. I wonder if we could construct a 135-degree angle. Let's see, 135-degree angle. How the heck would we do that? Well, what if, for instance, we took this 90-degree angle we have, and if we bisected this 90-degree angle, then half of a 90 would be 45. Let's see, 90 plus 45. Oh shoot, I believe that would do it, wouldn't it, kids? That would give us a 135-degree angle. So let's do that real quickly. Let's bisect this angle. How do I bisect the angle? Well, I could flip back to that sheet that showed me, but I think I can remember. First thing I do is I draw an arc of any, oh crumb, I hate that. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to extend this just a tiny little bit because it's not going out far enough. All right, so now I've got this arc. Now to bisect it, I have to set this compass. I'm going to come from that point, and it has to be from more than halfway across. Well, that's easy. I think that, look, this certainly appears to be more than halfway across, doesn't it? So coming from this point, I'm going to do an arc. And then I'm going to come from this point, and I'm going to do an arc. All right, so here's that point out there where those two arcs intersect. Again, I came from this point, from right here, I did an arc. Then I came from this point with that same measurement, and I did an arc. And that along with the vertex established the bisector. So now, you see I started with this 90-degree angle, and I cut it in half. So now I've got 45 degrees here, and I've got 45 degrees here. Since this was a 90-degree angle, this is a 90-degree angle. Now then, I have 90 degrees here and 45 degrees here. So therefore, this angle from here to here is 135 degrees. Do you see how this works? Let's think about this a minute. How in the heck could I get a 22.5-degree angle? Well, I think if you bisected this 45, you might get 22.5. How would you get 67.5? Well, I believe 67.5 might be 90 minus 22.5. I think that would give you 67.5. Now then, obviously, you're going to want to start with a big angle if you're going to start trying to bisect it. You can do it. It just makes it a little clumsier to bisect it when it's tiny. So I would make it, but it's going to be clumsy any way you do it. So, all right, those are construction 4. Let's move on, and we'll do construction 5 next.